Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Windows 98 all the way. Good way to start. Good way to start. Kadilo Silovic, a member for 69 months. Everyone start having a funny time. Go on, you know you want to. Sue! In a word, no, Windows 11 is nothing anyone should be interested in. Okay, so we've got one person saying no, what I should stick with Windows 10. The problem is they're ending support for Windows 10 in a few days, which means no more security updates. Windows 12 will be out next year. I mean, fair enough. Will I even be able to update from Windows...
Welcome, minion.
Who's that? Death Love! Remember 6 months. I mean, look, here's the thing. It's free. Will I even be able to update to Windows 12 from Windows 10? You know what I'm saying? I used Windows 7 without support for several years. Yeah, but I got to tell you now, I mean, there are issues if you do that. Windows 11 is fine. I don't know why people hate it so much. Change. That's it. It's change. And I'm not worried about that. I'll get used to it. I'm sure it's very annoying and all very modern and works better on a mobile phone than it does on a real PC, but I'll get used to it. I will get over that. What I want to know is, how does it perform on games and is it stable? I mean, I have been sticking with Windows 10 till the very bitter end, and I can't help but wonder if that is why I have been getting, say, more crashes in Baldur's Gate than apparently is normal. Is it possible? You were... Twitch is not online yet. Oh, I am very sorry. Yes, go on, there you go. People don't like 11 because they're forcing people to use it. Yeah, but that's just how it works. That's how it's always been. I mean, they did the same with Windows 10, so people don't like Windows 10 or Windows 8 or Windows 7 or Windows XP or Windows 95. I mean, oh God, the number of people who were not happy when Windows 95 came out because they were forcing it on us. Why weren't we getting DOS 7? You know, I mean, it's these are not the things I mean, just this is not something that's going to get to me. What I'm looking for, right? Windows 11 is also more game optimized. Okay. But yeah, Windows 10 support ends in a few days, basically. You ran Baldur's Gate on Windows 10 fine. Only had 2 crashes and those were because of mods. Yeah. Windows 11 has even newer driver support. So this is what I'm wondering. I'm thinking you might need a bit more RAM. I do doubt I need more RAM. I think I've got 64. I think. Pretty sure I have. And yeah, Sally Forth. Pretty much I'm probably in the same boat. You haven't got around to upgrading to 11, but that's mainly your inertia. System works, so why change? That's the same for me, basically. But I cannot change to Windows 11 on my render streaming PC. It might be related to your CPU. What might be? The crashing? I don't think so. The crashing in Baldur's Gate? I do not think so. The crashes the crashes I had were reproducible.
Welcome.
And were not happening when the CPU was remotely stressed. Baldur's Gate does not stress my CPU in the slightest. And my system is really solid. I mean, it is really solid. Now, I do realize it doesn't always work like that, but I cannot imagine Baldur's Gate is going to crash my system when OCCT doesn't, Prime 95 doesn't, Cinebench doesn't, Memtest doesn't, you know, all the benchmarks, all the stress tests, nothing, not a problem. And then I get a crash in Baldur's Gate when I stay in the barter menu for one particular NPC, and that is a reproducible bug. That does not sound like a CPU bug. I get crashes in Fallout London. Not that many, but I do get some. That is not the sign of a bad CPU. I even get crashes in Skyrim now when I hit a loading screen. It's about 1 in 10 times I hit a loading screen, I just get a crash. Oh, that's not true. It's not 1 in 10. When I reload, it's definitely like 1 in 10. So this is not the sign of a CPU going bad. I think I've had one blue screen of death. That was a long time ago. It was before I flashed the BIOS on my motherboard. But even then, I'm not convinced it was a sign of the CPU going. Again, because I've flashed the BIOS, I'm running pretty much stock speeds for the CPU. I'm not undervolting, I'm not overvolting, and my system, you know, I mean, I've hit it with all the big sticks. Your older system might just need to change a setting in BIOS. Yeah, it's unfortunately not a setting. It's rebar, isn't it? Yeah, that's not something my motherboard does. I believe there are ways around it. There are ways around it, but honestly, I'm beginning to feel like my Steam PC, my stream PC, my render PC is hitting its limit. I got to admit, the installation is probably the biggest problem. I mean, I'm still using Premiere Pro 16, and I really want to move to something better, like everyone says that new one, DaVinci. New, the very old established one, DaVinci, is the way to go. So I'm seeing so far, most people who've gone to Windows 11 are having no issues. Doesn't Windows 10 support end October 20? I think it said it very soon. I'm pretty sure it was saying it was pretty damn soon. I may be wrong. I thought it was saying soon. What is prompting me to upgrade? Well, basically, I saw something that said it was going to be no longer supported in a couple of days. Maybe I read the date wrong. October the 14th, 2025. All right, I've got the year wrong then, so I don't have to panic quite yet. Like I said, for my stream PC, I genuinely think what I need to do is reinstall Windows from scratch, start with some new programs. This installation I'm running on for my streaming and render PC is about as old as my channel. It's like a decade and something old. So they aren't ending support for W10, but they're extending it until 2029, but you have to pay monthly for it. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm thinking it's time to update anyway. If Windows 11 is stable, that's the one everyone's going to be developing towards. That's where all the drivers are going to be. Then it might be time to just take the plunge. I think I've got it on my laptop, but my laptop's itself is not the world's greatest machine. I think it is. Been a PC tech for over 30 years, see very few issues upgrade to 11. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to do that as soon as I get a break in my timetable. Then apparently it's not critical I do it this weekend. But from what I'm seeing, anyone who's actually using Windows 11 saying it's fine. I think it's just time for me to move over. It's time. Your only concern is retro compatibility for older games. I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say that if nobody's come along and said, oh my God, such and such a game isn't working, it's I mean, like, I play a lot of old games, but I'm guessing most of them work. Yeah, Nibbanin, my render PC is a first-gen Threadripper, so it's old. But the installation on the hard drive is older than the Threadripper. So... Might want to talk to someone who has experience in installing 11 with who might know what you should turn off. Nah. When I update, I'll be updating and figuring it all out myself. I might Google occasionally, but I'll be figuring it all out myself. Roll up my sleeves, get my hands dirty. Not having anyone else touch my PC anyway. Are you going to play Metro VR? I am going to have to get my VR set up again. Believe it or not, I've just not updated it. I've not plugged it in for a while. I keep meaning to. I really want to see if Skyrim and Leave play nicely again so I can carry on the Steve playthrough. Sorry, oh God. Derek! You would consider the Threadripper ancient at this point. It is. The thing is, though, it is a solid workhorse PC still. It is. It's just very hard to update. I can't update to Windows 11 on that machine, which is a shame. Scott Brockway, I am Roy Batty. Hey, Roy Batty, how you doing? Long time no see. New Vegas runs fine for you. Okay, well, if New Vegas runs fine for you on Windows 11, that's pretty much... Anything older than that, I'm sure I could get working anyway. Yeah, I saw Taylor 2 Wastelands 3.3.3 is out. I'm wondering if it's worth me updating. It's going to still be a while before I get back to that. I'm taking a break on Fallout London. I'm halfway through. I say halfway through. I've got no idea how far I am. I'm like 90 episodes and I'm going to take a chapter break. So I can play some Skyrim. But I'll be getting back to that. We've got Stalker 2 coming out, so yep. So some streamers you follow got codes for Red Dead Redemption from Rockstar. By any chance did you get one? Nope, I'm not important. Why not use Windows Server 2022? Well, I mean, I'm not totally sure what's the point, really. If I can get a free update to... Oh, on the render rig. On the render rig? I mean, there's again, if I'm not updating to Windows 11, if I'm not going to the latest version of whatever the hell... Is it confirmed that it's Formula 1 on Sunday? Yes, it is. Formula 1 for quite some time. I just don't know what time of day it is, so it might not get in the way of streaming. MS is trying to turn Windows into Mac OS more and more. Yeah, but that's always been true, Jack Rock you. Windows, in many ways, was Microsoft's answer to the Apple interface. Could also look at Linux for the render rig. I don't think so. Just way too much. I mean, that's going to be way too much downtime as I get everything installed and figure everything out. I haven't touched Unix in decades. We're talking huge downtime. You got to remember, this isn't a hobby. Did someone get Gopher started on F1? Nope. Yeah, I'm not taking it any further. We got stuff to talk about. But Windows knew how to use more than one mouse button. Yeah. So, all right. So I can update to Windows 11. Looks like it's possibly time, but I'm not in a rush to do so. So I can pick a time that's convenient, probably like Christmas time or something when I'm not doing as much work, and I'll just go over and get used to it. On the render rig, I am going to look into ways of updating without meeting the specs because my believe it or not, my render rig does not meet the minimum specs for Windows 11. It's terrifying. Linux is a lot more user-friendly now. Yeah, it's not the fact that whether it's user-friendly or not. It's just I'd have to learn to do everything again. So you're talking a couple of weeks downtime, basically. Install Linux, get a bunch of programs that I want to work for it, find out which ones that I'm currently using. I mean, does Premiere Pro work on Linux? Probably, but got to get it working. If there are any issues, there's always issues with Premiere Pro. That's why I want to move. And so on and so forth. So it's kind of like, it's a huge. And let's face it, every time something comes out, Linux is the last thing to get the love. So, if a new streaming thing comes out, a new update for the Stream Deck software. Don't do it. Block it if possible. Many things that depends programs in Windows 10 will break in Windows 11. I'm not completely convinced. Well, here's the thing. On my gaming PC, I really don't have anything running other than games. So, from a program point of view, it's not. Been using DaVinci Resolve for years. It's just so much better than the competition. I've heard this. Is it still free or do I have to pay for it now? You would suggest reinstalling Windows for 11. Yeah, well, I might as well try the upgrade. If the upgrade turns out to be buggy, then I have to do a reinstallation anyway. It's you could try the upgrade, see what happens. If it doesn't work, then just go for a complete reinstall. It's still completely free. Okay, I am going to try and switch over to it because Premiere Pro annoys the crap out of me. But I'm not. Anyway, I wasn't really talking too much about the render rig. Like I said, the render rig needs a lot of thinking. If render rig has TPM disabled on BIOS or it's installed on legacy, it will say W. I'm not totally sure what you mean by TPM. And what do you mean installed on legacy? Are we talking the drive? Pretty sure the drive is actually up to date. Trusted platform module. Not completely sure. Not completely sure. I'd have to check. But the reason Windows 11 on my render rig won't install is because my motherboard doesn't have rebar. basically. Can't even remember what that means. Don't do the upgrade. It's not even the latest version. Just do a clean installation. I'll see. I mean, there's no harm in trying the update. There's no harm in trying. Be sure to turn BitLocker off, or you'll have big problems on all your data. Yeah, I'm not using BitLocker. Rebar is for GPUs. Well, it's this was what it was telling me. Something to do with the. I think it was rebar. Is your BIOS updated? It was updated. It was, but like, you know, probably 5 years ago. You know, so I mean, it's such an old motherboard. Back up your important stuff first. Well, realistically, all my stuff is backed up. My gaming PC literally has all of the games, all of the mods, all of that sort of stuff installed on 2 different drives. There's, you know, the only thing I could possibly lose would be settings from the documents folder or the app data folder. And I almost always, whenever I do anything like this, just take absolute direct copies of everything in app data and everything in the documents folder, just so that I can then go back. What's the Threadripper model you have? Like, it's the 1950. It's the OG Threadripper. Dark seasonal greetings from Copenhagen. Greetings! Updating to 11 instead of clean installation will most likely result in worse performance, but nothing breaking. You might not even know unless you benchmark. The thing is what I could do is just, you know, get the update, make sure everything works, and then if I suspect there's a performance issue or anything like that, I'll just do a fresh install. You could switch your render rig over to AM5. Is that a... That's not a setting. That's a whole new chip. Yeah, that's... I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, I'm not... No. The render rig still works, guys. I mean, it's not as powerful as modern servers, but it will happily render 3 movies at once. I could stream and render a movie at the same time. It does everything it needs to do. So... AM5 is an expensive motherboard. Yeah, I mean, what's prompting the upgrade? I got a big message saying that it was got... I misread it, apparently. I misread and thought Windows 11... Windows 10 was no longer being supported as of a certain date, and it was 2025. I read it as 2024, so... So I'm probably not going to do it. I'll probably just do it when I've got... Now there is not as much of a major problem or a major headache. As for the render rig, that's just to be decided. That's going to be staying on Windows 10 anyway, unless I figure a way to fool it into installing it on the system, because it currently says it's not. But, you know, I will upgrade to Windows 11, but I will wait until there's a nice, convenient window. Even the old Threadrippers are great at productivity, just the lack of support sucks. Yeah, that is pretty much it. That is pretty much it. The Threadripper CPU is just cranking away quite happily. It's doing its job. And it's doing it well. So it was a beast of a CPU for its time, but it has stood the test of time really well. Yeah, October the 14th, 2025 is the exact date. I read it as 2024. The 9050 does not have a TPM2 module, so you think that's the reason you can't install Windows 11. You might be able to install a dedicated TPM2 module. That depends on the motherboard. Yeah, if I'm going to start doing that, I'm really... So I mean, realistically, if there's no reason not to update to Windows 11, I'm guessing that is what all the driver manufacturers are, all the graphics card manufacturers, all hardware manufacturers are programming to now. So, who have we got? Amy Duncan, remember, 42 months. I play Starfield, Hogwarts, Skyrim, and Minecraft all on Windows 11. I've had no crashes as a result. I might as well. I might as well try. All your settings in all your Bethesda save games goes into the cloud on a Microsoft Office 6. Yeah, I don't do that. I do not do the cloud saving. I don't like the idea. And I always feel like I'm getting some issues from it. But anyway then, so yeah, that's settled. That is settled. That's the podcast done. Is there a performance gain going from Windows 10 to 11? I don't actually think there probably will be. I mean, some people are going to say, oh yeah, there's like 1% here, 2% here. My guess is for the vast majority of us, nothing noticeable. For me, it's just more to just stay up to date, get with the program. You know, I'm guessing at the moment more people are using Windows 11 than Windows 10. Just by a process of, people buying new PCs or people just upgrading, like auto upgrading. So at this point, it's probably hardcore dinosaurs like myself on Windows 10 and, no gain, loss for AMD CPU. Is it a loss for the AMD CPU? Well, I'm Intel on the machine we're talking about. So we had another remember. Why didn't that that member get a credit? That's annoying, isn't it? No cloud saving, even with Steam. I try not to. I always try to turn them off. They're always a pain in the backside, especially once you get to the whole... when you get to like 1,500 saves or something, and you start getting issues. Okay, random tangent. Somebody told me Dragon Age Veilguard's got a maximum of 100 saves. Is that true? Is that true? Steam survey says 51% Windows 11 now. Oh, okay. So it's only just the majority now. Correct. I'm correct about the only 100 saves. Holy crap. It's the death of gaming, I'm telling you. And no quick save button. I give up. Casual gamers. It's all your fault. Who else do we blame? I can't remember. Casual gamers. 100 saves per character. I don't care if it's per character or just why is there a limit on saves? Why is there a limit on saves? I mean, this just I don't know what constitutes a casual gamer. People who like games I don't like usually seems to be the definition of it. That's the definition of casual gamer. People who like things that I don't like. But whoever you are, it's your fault that we've only got 100 saves. Likely for some console porting reason. I understand why they might limit it on console. Why limit it on PC? That's just asinine. I mean, I'm currently looking at my my Leonard save, and we're at 4,500. Assuming it doesn't reset when you do anything funny. I'm 4,723 saves. Now, obviously, I don't have all 4,700. I go into my save thing and clean it out every now and again. But, that's because I want to keep that folder a little more tidy. And what I tend to do with those anyway is I tend to back them up somewhere. Believe it or not. I just don't want them in the main folder. But why? Why make two versions when one version works? Well, one version isn't working if you can only have 100 saves. But the reason that when you say why make two versions, they got to make two versions. They got to make three versions: PC version, Xbox version, and Sony version. I mean, they're making three versions anyway, and there are absolutely some monumental differences between all three that they have to code for. The limit on saves should literally be a number somewhere that they can change. Changing that is asininely easy. It's not like we have to allow 200 saves now. Right, team, huddle up. The next 4 months you will not be seeing your family because we are all going to make it so they can have more than 100 saves. It's not. It's
Hey, Bob. Can you change that 100 number to 200? In fact, no. Can you just change it to 9999999 for me? Yeah, it's done. Thanks.
It's not. There's not a. We're not talking huge. If it's more complicated than that, somebody needs to be dragged outside and beaten up. So they can sell more save games DLC. It should be a build flag, but someone has to build that build flag. Yeah. Wow. Such work. Much time. GOG have recently reduced their saves capacity. Cloud saving, I get. If you're going to have a certain amount of cloud saving, you can say, you can only have a maximum of such cloud saves. Totally understand that. That's a completely different. That is a completely different situation. But saves on your own system, it's. Here's what it is. It's the people programming it are thinking,
why would you need more than 100 saves?
I'm telling you, that's what it is. Because they've got bubble think. There's a few of them and they play games and they never have more than 100 saves. And so they assume nobody needs more than 100 saves. The number of times I hear people say things like along those lines, nobody needs that anyway. I mean, you remember the whole key rebinds thing?
Everybody has a QWERTY keyboard. Everybody, yes. I've checked everybody in the world. I went all the way down the street to my friend's house. He's got a QWERTY keyboard.
This always happens. They probably think, why would anyone replay this game? You're being nasty now. I've heard mixed reviews about the game, but I've also heard it's probably not a me game. Oh. It likely wasn't a programmer that made the choice, but rather a designer. Yeah, well, you very often the mixture of both. Mass Effect 2 also limits the number to around 100. Did it? You're probably right. It's bloody annoying. It's bloody annoying. Just if you're making a PC version of a game, just make the PC version. There's just a little tiny little thing. You know, just tweak it. There's someone out there who'll appreciate it. But honestly, I don't. From the looks of things, it doesn't look like it's going to be a me type game. I mean, I probably would enjoy it, but I've got so many other ones I want to enjoy. God of War, for example. Baldur's Gate 3 was meant to be replayed heavily, and it does have a save limit. Does it have a save limit? What's the save limit on Baldur's Gate 3? No, I haven't hit it yet. Do you think I'll hit it then? And on that note, and on that question, I should go and start streaming Baldur's Gate 3, shouldn't I? Yes, I should. All right, guys, I'll be back in a few minutes. Baldur's Gate 3. 12 Days to Stalker 2. Don't get me excited. I'll see you guys soon.